Hey Billy, we are here and it is mid-November, November 12th, and Predator Badlands came out a couple days ago. We saw it on Saturday. We, I mean, I know I was impressed.
I
I
loved
knew
it
what I was
too.
coming into. I knew this was going to be a non-stop action movie, and maybe a lot of it wasn't going to make sense, but that's okay.
Yeah, man, I loved it. I thought it was a throwback like 90s style like action movie. Just like that intro, like first 10 minutes were awesome. Like the build up of like the backstory and then coming in and then just Badlands. Like, yeah, it was great. Great tone setting right off the bat. And yeah, lived up to it throughout.
I agree, man. It has been getting great reviews from the fans. It's been getting great reviews from the critics. It's been getting great reviews from people that do what we're doing right now. And it's just one of those movies where it's just like a stupid action movie, you
Yeah.
know? But it was
There's
good. It was good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I mean I think we're gonna kind of dive in and talk a little bit about, just what kind of made this good, what they're kind of we think is they're setting up here, and what is, what they, a little bit of what the negative was we thought. And then we're gonna hit on maybe some other things here. Frankenstein just came out here with Oscar Wilde, and yeah, I mean it was good too. So let's start going on this. So I'm gonna let you start, buddy. Give us a little jumping off point here.
So Predator Badlands, like just my backstory relationship with the Predator franchise is I like it when it crosses over with Alien with the Alien
Right.
franchise. Like honestly, like I was never really into Predator growing up, like I looked at it as like a Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, not a huge fan. Uh but like I liked it when it was on, but like it was not something that like I followed Star Wars or like kind of later in high school like got into Alien and all that. With Alien versus Predator, I can't remember if it was Alien versus Predator or Alien versus Predator Requiem that came out when we were in high school, but that like I really like dug. That's really when I latched on to like the Predator archetype, that character or that species as a,
Yeah.
character.
You got a little bit
Um,
more of the culture from both of those movies. I mean, so just to confirm what you were saying,
yeah,
2004 was Alien vs. Predator. I think 2006 was Requiem. But also, I wanted to kind of go back here. This is mostly Wizard Podcast. I thank everyone for being here. I'm sorry I forgot that, but I think this is episode 15. This is episode
15 or
15.
16.
Yeah, I want to say something like that. But I'm glad everyone's here. Hey, like and subscribe. We do appreciate it. And if you guys want to just write some mean comments, we don't give a crap. We like to, respond. So, but yeah, no, you were right, man. What the Alien versus Predator and Alien versus Predator Requiem did do is it kind of introduced that predator culture. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like that we never had. And again, I agree. Like a lot of people dissed on Alien vs. Predator. A lot of people dissed on Alien vs. Predator Requiem. I liked both those movies. I
yeah,
mean, like maybe not like the humans that were playing in it, but like I still liked it. I mean, like Alien vs. Predator Requiem, I thought that was brutal.
yeah,
Some of those scenes in there were like, the pregnant woman gets like impregnated, and that was kind of brutal, but I
yeah.
digress. I digress. So let's
No,
go
well,
ahead.
yeah. So like that's the thing is like like that's where what I'm bringing into this Predator franchise is like I dug it when that like lore started of like they're going to this like pyramid to kill all these like xenomorphs and all this. And like that's when like it clicked for me of like, oh, this culture is like the cool part of it. It's not just like this weird dreaded alien that like has a dumb I never really dug the mask. the metal mask. I like their face, with the pinchers and stuff, but like the mask always kind of,
Mandibles.
yeah, it kind of was lame to me. So anyway, but it makes sense as part of that culture. So like that's why I dug it. And then yeah, like but the Predator movies never really did it for me. Like there's a Adrian Brody movie that I thought was pretty good. Like you
Predators.
were saying, like AVP and AVP Requiem were products of their time, and like that's what we had at the time. This is pre Iron Man. It is pre
Right, right, right,
2008.
right.
Like we loved what we got, and like when we got Alien movies or Predator movies, like that was the shit. That was like what to watch at the time.
No, I
Um,
agree. I agree
yeah.
100%, man. And
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 so and
go
so
ahead,
like
go ahead.
not having just like to round out my point is like not ever having like a Predator movie to like latch onto of like, yeah, that's it. Like other than the first two. Like I have gone back since and watched Predator and Predator 2, and I love those movies. They're great, but it's still like they're products of their time. They're 90s movies. And so this Predator Badlands, I think fully like embrace the best of all worlds. It's modern, it's old school, it's slightly nostalgic if you want to put it that way.
It's a
With some
product
of
of
the
the time because they couldn't do this movie back in the day.
yeah,
Like they
exactly.
couldn't do this back in the day.
And it's a product of our time, the best of all the worlds being now combined. And so that's why I think it was a clear success. Like everybody loves it.
Effective.
It did
Yeah.
awesome in the box office. Like we love it. And yeah, I think, just to round out my review is I thought midway through I got a little bored, to be totally honest. Like I don't know if it was the CGI monkey lizard thing. Like I didn't hate
Baby
the
callus.
monkey lizard. Yeah. I didn't hate it. And like once I caught on that that's a baby monster thing, like
Callus.
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 Yeah, that makes total sense. Like, cool. I'm on board with that. On a rewatch, I'm gonna love it, I'm sure. But yeah, on a first watch, the midpoint, Act Two, leading. Once we got to Act Three, where there's that little bit of a twist, like, oh shit, it's not just about um him getting his prize. It's about,
Right.
there's more to the story. So,
Right, right, right. Yeah, I mean, dude, I agree. And like the um baby callus, like that one kind of threw me for a loop because like essentially like when we first got introduced to him in or her into the movie, like I like it they introduced her as just like a friendly competition for like meat. And I thought that was cool. Like, at first I thought they were going to kind of battle a little bit. And I thought it was a cool aspect the way they just portrayed that it has this ability to go through this blade grass, which Deck is having issues with because he's never been in this planet, and and when they first fought, like that little but Callus like has strength. He kind of struggled with it a little bit. He probably could have trucked it, and had they gone at it a little bit more. But I liked it. I didn't see coming. What I did not see coming until I saw the face of the big Callus was that it was like a baby Callus. I kind of saw a little bit of that face in the big Callus, but then like I really didn't kind of put it together until like was sniffing him. But
mm.
so as far as like the characters that were introduced, I guess we'll just start with the side characters. So we're talking about the baby cows. So I'll go back to not go back to, I'll
Well,
talk about go ahead.
I think before we talk about character, like the Badlands world is a character in and of itself, and
Right.
like Batman or Batman with Gotham City.
Gotham City. Yeah, yeah.
Gotham is this living, breathing thing. This literally was a living, breathing planet, and like that was so cool right off the bat. You go from the Yukta, which I did I say that right? Yukta?
Is that what the name of their home planet is? I thought it
No,
was
that's
like,
the race of the people, the dreaded people,
oh no, that's
predator.
not Yukta. It's God, gosh, you're making me blank right now.
Ah, I'm
Yaja,
blanking.
Yawa, Yaj, yeah. Whoa, I'm gonna look this up now.
Look it up
Uh,
while I talk or finish my point, which I can't even remember now. Oh, just the planet being alive. Like you go from the Yukta planet to Badlands, and you know, you have immediately in the background like a tree, like what you think is a tree starts like devouring stuff, and then like you have other things that want to hurt you and want to slice you up, and then you get to this razor like glass field, like these plants behind me, like but like it can cut you uh every time you move. And then you like zoom out, like I said, like you get that Badlands like intro, but you zoom out and there's like mountains and there's like something, it's like
right.
Quantum Mania, but like cooler and gnarly, and I love it. And like that's what like
Drew
my
us in.
my biggest takeaway, my favorite thing about this movie is the Badlands planet and how he ended up utilizing the planet, the little bugs that blow up and like the this that like I forget what all the things do, but he used the environment
Right.
of Badlands to be his armor and be his weaponry in the end. And that was like I saw that coming, and it was accomplished and executed in an awesome manner. And like, yeah, just that Predator Badlands, they intro with the text on screen, then they end it with that because it's like that's what the movie was. It was the Predator and the planet combining and wreaking havoc and earning honor.
No, man, I agree, and like I thought it was well executed. And by the way, it's Yautja.
Youch.
I can't believe I was blanking on that, but yeah, Yautja. So no, I agree. What I thought was well executed was at the beginning when, he crash lands on the planet. I thought it was great that, he goes through and he's cataloging his weaponry, and he's pulling it back, putting it back there, putting it back there, and then all of a sudden you got the vines coming down, and like and you could tell kind of, and that's what I thought initially, that like these things weren't after him but after his, like, weaponry, or I guess just like in that, like, non-organic, stuff, because like when it was initially the first thing you saw, well, initially though, it took like that lizard. That's what I thought. It took like some lizard, and then like all of a sudden, like it took all his grenades and stuff that he had laid out there. And I was like, okay, so why would it take his grenades? Okay, all right, I get it. All right. And then they started attacking him, but then like they didn't really they didn't really hurt him. They just kind of took his weaponry. What I was reminded of from those things though was from the Alien Earth, the little plant monster thing. That kind of would have, like, I thought they were gonna do
Oh
something with
yeah.
that, but it kind of reminded me of that. But I did like though, like right after that, what you were talking about. He gets onto that cliff. It like pans out, and you can see the scene there. It's like the um from what's that dinosaur movie from the 80s that we used to watch with
Land
Will
Before
Ferrell?
Time.
Land Before Time, and it's like that
Yeah.
shows like the hit the valley that they're going for. That's what it
Yeah.
looked like. And then it had like on that mountain and like this giant worm thing, like literally the size of the mountain, is like like what the hell is
Oh,
that?
I
I thought they were
love
gonna do
it.
something with that. And they didn't, but like, okay, I mean, that's fine. It was cool looking though. It was cool. But
He
so
knows
I
to
know
stay away from that shit.
right,
Like,
right.
why would you go up to the mountain worm?
I mean, I thought it was great, and it's exactly what you said. Like, okay, so what Deck had going against him is that he is not like the
The
same
run.
size. Yeah, he's the runt. He's not the same size. Maybe I don't know if they're getting into an arm wrestling competition if he doesn't have the same strength or anything. But still, he's a Yautja, and he has superior strength, but he's smaller and all that stuff like that. But like, so what if he can't do things, the traditional way, how is he going to be able to do it? And what like the opening scene was between him and his brother fighting in the cave is his brother teaching him, hey, you got to use your environment to work for you.
Yeah, man.
And like I thought that came like well done into fruition throughout the movie, like especially at the end when he doesn't have his weaponry except for his
Yeah.
fucking sword, and he's getting the worms that explode, and he's getting the plants that puff out and dish out like paralyzing needles, and then the
Yeah. The
acid
like
spitting yeah,
porcupine plants.
and the acid spitting eel, that he befriends, which I thought was dope. That they did that in a way to look like the traditional predator plasma
Yeah.
gun. And I mean, like the point kind of I got from this whole thing was that as the predator, the predator is, goes to overcome their prey at, not all costs, but along the predator codex, which is, with honor, which would be like, which is like, in any majority, all of the predator movies, what do they do at the end? They take off their shit and they start going fisticuffs. You know what I mean? And like that's what he was doing the like kind of the entire time. And then, he uses his head and grabs the stuff that he has available to him to
No.
like help him out. I thought that was dope. Um, I would like to talk about just the character Thea and kind of his interaction slash introduction slash acceptance and creation to his group or tribe, you want to say, with the baby callus, which I want to say the baby callus name was Bout or something like that, but
Bud.
yeah, and then Thea and yeah, so kind of initially when we first got introduced to this, it's and I'm willing to put aside like disbelief here that yeah, he just happened to crash land in the perfect spot where the Calisk is right within a couple of miles, or
Yeah. That's
whatever.
movie shit. You gotta
Right,
forgive
movie
that.
shit. And and it just happened to be like right where she was getting held prisoner by this pterodactyl. But what I thought was kind of like weird, like when I first saw it, he's getting paralyzed in the ground by those plants, and he happens to throw his shuriken and like freeze her. But then all of a sudden you see the pterodactyl coming down, and then you see her just like, whoosh, like hit, and she doesn't have like any legs. And I'm like, well, how the fuck did she just do that? Like, how did she just, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, okay, so I'm going to just forget that. And but then later on in the movie, you kind of see that she is able to like move herself like super like come like shoot herself with her arms because she's a synthetic. So I'm like, okay, so that kind of like makes up for it. That works. One of the things I kind of just I wish they would have explained, is she's an exposition character. She gives all this exposition, all this stuff. That's what her role is. And what she doesn't do is she doesn't tell us the age, like the year or anything like that, or anything of what happened in the past, like anything like a major event. You know what I mean? Like we can like kind of like pinpoint and be like, okay, so this happened then. This must be where we're at. Because what I thought was really weird and just kind of, I really wish they would have touched on this. And it kind of seemed like this was just chopped up in editing, was that they cut the scenes where they kind of gave a backstory on the Weyland Yutani like and Yautja interactions, like how she knows so much about the Yautja, or how they came to have and acquired or made whatever a universal translator. You know what I mean? Like, or was it like she's just saying it's a universal translator and she actually got language from previous Yautja and then deciphered the rest of the language, something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
wish there was more. It just felt like, oh, so you have complete knowledge of the Yautjas and all their society, and we're not getting to learn about that. You know what I mean? Like I thought
I
that was
don't
weird.
know. I don't know that I took it that way. I don't think they're totally because that was on the Weyland Yutani stuff was on the Badlands planet.
Right, right. Yeah, no, that's what I'm talking about. Like, but like Thea and like Weyland Yutani, they have a background of the Yautjas. They know all
Yeah.
about the Yautjas.
Well,
They go ahead.
okay, so like just in response to that, one thing about this movie that I liked is that it has those seeds planted, that it has the crossovers with the Whale and Utani stuff. And that was another thought. Side note, we need something to be able to call this like alien Earth world or this, and doesn't like Whale and Utani, the Whale and Utani verse, like that just like the
They should do
Yutani.
something like that. They
They
should
they
do
they
something like
need
that.
a name or an acronym or something for us to be able to discuss this because AVP, like maybe if they come out with like okay, what I liked about this movie was that they sprinkled in things that can be tied back to the Alien versus Predator crossover in Wayland Jennings, Wayland Yutani crossovers. Um, but they're not explicitly called out in this movie. They're just there, so that the next, Predator Badlands 2 or, Predator whatever,
Deck,
Alien versus Predator, like if AVP is they need to make that the Avengers. And then
well,
you have
they're saying that
hold on.
AVP. Hold on, they're saying that AVP and AVP Requiem are not canon to any of
No,
this.
I'm not saying those movies. I'm using AVP because I don't feel like saying Alien versus Predator.
Well, no,
I'm
that's what I'm
saying,
saying. I'm saying those two movies are not canon to this. Like, apparently,
yeah.
that's what they're saying.
Okay, what I'm saying is they need to build towards a new AVP movie,
I
a
got you. I
new
understand
like
what you're saying. Like a
reset.
history. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Yeah.
So that we can call this all the AVP universe. You know
Right.
what I
Right.
mean?
Right. Right.
And so like that's what I love about what this movie has the potential to set up with uh Trachtenberg, the showrunner of all this, is that you have these side stories like, the runt of the predator species going on this side mission on Badlands. You have Prey where a human being stands up with primitive technology against a alien being with superior technology, and then you have we're getting a 10-minute warning, and then you have like what we saw
We got to do
in.
two parters, man. We got to do a
Yeah,
two-parter.
we'll do a two-parter, so we'll
Uh,
wrap up this first parter in the next 5 minutes or so.
I
um
don't know.
no, no,
I got a
no,
lot to say about this movie still.
I know. We'll wrap
Yeah, yeah,
chapter one of this podcast
yeah,
up
yeah.
in the next 5 minutes. So, yeah, you have these side stories, and then we'll have Alien Earth over here, and that's like a side story on the alien side. And then you can have other properties like Alien Romulus, and like that whole tie-in over there. But then you have AVP in the middle, which is the Avengers, where you have, some major
Tying
kind of,
everything together. Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's what I'm like super psyched about this. But then you go off on these, I hope they stay to these like side stories, and like, I really want to see, more from the like the lens of Prey, like where it's a simple story of like 1v1, man versus unknown, and yeah, just
Well,
greatness like that.
I mean, like, so before we cut off this one and then continue on the next one, because
Yeah.
I definitely have a lot more to say about Predator Badlands. What you just said, though, the 1v1 type thing that you want to see, like, I'm gonna tell you this, man, you have to watch Predator Killer of Killers. It's canon, it's animated, and I get it,
No, I
but like,
like it.
and
I
like, so like, just to kind of give you a little synopsis, though. It is it starts off just giving three stories of well, 1v1, 1v1 slash 2v1, and then 1v1. And then it ends with all three being frozen and then unfrozen in the future, like that, and they're on the Yautja Prime, and they are fighting each other, and then like they come together. I don't want to ruin it, but like either way though.
No, you can ruin it. I've like I told you, I've watched the new Rockstars breakdown of
Yeah,
it
yeah.
because I
Well,
I started it and I just couldn't finish it. Like I have my
so
issues
so
that we'll talk about.
what I loved about the animated, I mean, because number one, it's canon. Number two, it ties into where we are in Predator Badlands universe. But like number three is that it definitely 100% gave us what we wanted, exactly what you're saying, a 1v1 story, so like the first one, I loved all of them personally, but like the first story was good. Gave a 1v1 with a Viking woman, and she takes out, take she ends up winning. But then it goes on to the second one. The second one was my favorite because I love uh samurai culture,
Mhm.
ninja culture, and that's what it was. It was like two brothers who were raised by um God, I can't remember what the name of the main samurai head guy who rules it is called, but like they were the sons, but like, and he has to have one successor, and so like they end up fighting, and one of them goes off and lives a life for a while, but then he comes back in the next scene as like older. He's a ninja. He's trained as a ninja now, and then he just starts taking out all of these guys just to get to his brother, who's the head samurai now. God, why can't I remember what the heck the name of the head samurai is called? It's whatever. It's the title.
I don't know, dude. Like I said,
Well,
I've
well,
watched a breakdown of Killer of Killers before. Like I know it's really cool. Like I get it. Like and just for the viewers, real quick, like I do animation as part of my job, my day job, and like I have struggles with watching animation just because one, I'm jealous. Two, I nitpick about what I would have done different. And three, I just obsess over the details that take me away from the story. So I have trouble like focusing on animated certain animated shorts and things like that. So this was one of those where I just couldn't get into because it was like yeah, I don't know.
well, and dude, I'll tell you this, like I am a fan of anime, but like I'm a fan
I
of
am too.
I'm a fan of more of old anime, like Akira stuff, like the '90s stuff, like where they made everything so detailed and shit
Yeah.
like that. Like I
Yeah.
really respect and have it's like a huge like it's just such a beautiful art form. And like I thought this was a beautiful art form, and it was, but not only that, I thought this was a very good storytelling,
Yeah.
and and
Awesome.
and the reason why and that's where I was pointing out and kind of going into this the second story more than the others is like I have a thing for just I like that samurai culture, that
Yeah,
ninja
man.
culture, and it portrayed it very, very, very well. And it was what it was gory, didn't hold back or anything like that, but. In the end, though, um, they come together, and then she sacrifices herself, not sacrifices herself, but like, goes at them, and so that they can get away. But I will come back to that. Let's cut off, and then let's go, because I want to go back to that, what I was just about to say at that very end of Killer and Killers, because I want to bring that back to the very end of Predator
No,
Badlands.
finish your point on Killer Killers. We still got three,
All
man.
right, all right, all right. Okay. So at the very end of Predator Badlands, okay,
They
Deck,
show
yeah, well,
Danny
yeah, Deck takes out
Glover
his father. Yeah,
and
Deck takes
Arnold
out his father. Yeah,
Schwarzenegger
no,
in
no, and
ice.
then the ship.
Oh!
Well, wait, the ship comes up over the the scenery there, and he's like, oh crap, that's my mom or something like that.
Oh,
I
and
thought
Badlands, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought when the ship like showed up, I thought that was going to tie into Predator Killer of Killers, because at the end of Predator Killer of Killers, the Japanese guy and the guy from the 40s, they get away in the ship because the Viking woman, sacrifices. She
Okay.
didn't sacrifice. She still lives, but they freeze her. But like, they get away in a ship, and then they're like. let the hunt begin, and they go at him, chasing after him in ships. I thought that was going to be the tie-in. I thought that would have been
Maybe
super
it
fun.
is. Can it not
Dude,
still be?
I mean, it can still be, but like, the only thing that like kind of makes me like think differently is because like, Deck is from the planet and maybe he can recognize ships and they have recognizable stuff or, what I'm saying? Like you can recognize your mom's car or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but so
All
yeah,
right, let's
we'll
pause
talk
there,
about this.
Nick.
So we'll talk about the second half of Predator Badlands, and then we'll talk about Frankenstein, and then we'll end this one. So
Wizard.
All right, and we're back for chapter two of
chapter two,
the Badlands review. Nick,
mostly wizard here. Yeah,
well,
we
yeah, we
were
don't need to do
we
our intro again. We just had a little diddle-doo, diddle-doo. Nick, you were just talking about Killer of Killers. Did you have any other points on that?
well, yeah. I mean, okay. So I wanted Predator Badlands to kind of tie in with that more because okay, so the whole I guess one of the problems I had, and this goes back to that problem with the Weyland Yutani uh, synthetics, just not, they knew all about the Yaochek culture and all about them and stuff. There was no year given, like when this takes place or how they figured that out. And it's the
Mm.
same thing with Killer Killers. I wanted this tie in with that more, but like Killer of Killers, you don't get a year of when the ending takes place. And Predator Badlands, you don't get a year as to when this takes place either. So it's either like they're happening around the same time. Both movies like they happen in the future because you see in Predator in Killer of Killers, you see um, Dan, what's his name? Glover, Danny Glover. They see Danny Glover, he's frozen, and you see the woman from Prey, she's frozen, and so we know this is in the future, okay? Um, at that point we don't know if this is like before Alien Romulus, we don't know that or Alien. We don't know that because both those movies happen after Predator 2 and happen after Prey. In Predator Badlands, it's kind of implied that this is way in the future because one, the synthetics have a full knowledge of Yautjas and Yautja's culture and their language. And then two is like the weapons that the synthetics are using, they are more improved from like, aliens. Okay, so the perfect example is the flamethrowers they were using. So the flamethrowers that they were using in Aliens, or, they're just standard, and you can look at them and you can see the flame. The flame is just a regular, what we would picture as a
Yeah.
flamethrower flame, yellowish, orange, whatever. In this movie, Predator Badlands, the flame they're using is blue. If the flame is blue, that means it's burning at an extreme heat, like higher heat.
Yeah. Or it's some made up alien gas.
Well, no, I mean, look, the only reason I'm citing this because that is true. Like, if you look at like a lighter, like the
Oh,
bottom
yeah.
part,
No, I
yeah,
know.
the
Yeah.
bottom part is blue because that's the hottest part. Like that's what I'm saying. So this is, in my opinion, showing this is in the future. We don't know how far in the future. Okay. If we go back to Alien Romulus or Alien Earth, they're all happening around the same time. Synthetics are there, but they're not mass produced like you see in this movie. Because the entire camp, if you looked at all, remember how, at the end they were showing like the above shot and you could see all the synthetics kind of running out and stuff like that. There was probably what, like 200, 150, something like that. There was a lot. I mean, like you cannot say that that this was happening around the times of Alien Romulus or Alien Earth, which all happened around the same time, because I just don't think they're mass producing those synthetics. I think there's just too much money, you know what I mean? But like if you think of Alien Resurrection, which we don't know if that is canon to this timeline. Okay, Alien Resurrection, all right? Now follow me. Follow me on this, all right? Alien Resurrection. The whole plot to that is like they the soldiers were amazed to meet what's her name from Beetlejuice? What's
Winona
what's
Ryder.
what's her name?
Winona Ryder.
Why can't I say that?
Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder. They were amazed to meet her and that she's like this synthetic, like this special synthetic that's like, because like they outlawed these things. You know what I mean? So that happened like so from my knowledge of this, like at that time in Alien Resurrection, Weyland Yutani was, taken over and disbanded. And apparently, this is the word that it was Walmart bought him out. I'm not kidding with you. That's what happened. Okay. And so, from my knowledge of that timeline, is that I think it's like the United something. That's who was, the bad guy, not the bad guys, but the people in Alien Resurrection. They got taken over by Weyland Yutani again, and Weyland Yutani, like, came back. So that's why I'm thinking like, okay, this has to be after Alien Resurrection. You know what I mean? That far into the future because you have this many synthetics and stuff like that. But the only thing that makes me disprove that is that I think that like something happened in between Alien 3, timeline Alien 3 and then Alien Resurrection, where there was an issue with synthetics, where there was like, some kind of like that Blade Runner thing where like, there was some kind of war or something like that, well, Blade
Mhm.
Runner apparently like I remember we talking about this, we thought it happened after it happened before Alien. That's
Yeah.
what I kind of discovered. But either way though, I feel like either this happened between Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection or after Alien Resurrection. And the only reason I'm citing is because the amount of synthetics and the technology that's in the synthetics, especially Thea and Tessa, that they are programmed with all this emotion and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I mean,
I
just to,
mean, why does it even matter though? Like
it
that's
does
kind of
matter. It does matter.
but well, from my point of view, I don't care that much, and I kind of like not being a, Star Wars universe where you need to know what happened ABC, or even Star Trek outside of the Kelvin universe. Like, you have this continuity. I guess that's what I'm getting at.
Right, right.
And Marvel, we have this continuity problem now where, like audiences are falling off of Marvel because it's like, well, what shows do I need to go see or do I need to watch before I go see this movie? And I think Predator and Alien are doing it smart where it doesn't freaking matter. It's all just the future, kind of. In some of it's kind of like 80s retro and some of it's like more futuristic, but it doesn't matter. From my point of view as like a non like hardcore fan of this universe,
So let's
I
talk about
like
that
I
real.
like this being kind
Let's
of just all over the
let's
place, like whatever.
let's talk about it for just a brief minute. Like, I think that exactly what you're saying, if they do that sort of thing, is good in the sense exactly what you just stated. Like, who cares? It's the future, and these are all just different stories. They don't have to interconnect, and they don't have to be in a timeline. I I like that, and I that can 100% work in the way that it's already working now, where you don't know this information. Number two is I also do like when they do have a timeline and you can kind of because the only reason I say the second part is if they are going to lead up to something like bigger. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You
Hmm.
know, that's the only reason why I would like, it all connecting or making a timeline. But I do love, and the reason why this movie works is exactly what you said, is because they don't give us all this information for
Hmm.
us to overthink this shit.
Yeah.
And I think that definitely
It's
works
fu-
for a lot of what the Alien and Predator
Mhm.
movies is because like let's a perfect example, the movie Predators, like with they're on the planet,
Adrian Brody movie.
Adrian
Yeah.
Brody movie. You don't know any year of when that takes place. You don't know any backstory of anything like that. It's just here we are. This is what it is, and that's what you got with this. Like same exact fucking thing.
Yeah.
And I 100%. I mean,
And maybe one day down the road there will be that like big
right,
culmination movie
right.
that is like, oh, here's the like
Uh,
calendar of events of
here's
how
the
this all
Avengers like
happened.
coming together, right?
Yeah.
Type, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
then you can like go back through the different like eras of movies and like be like, "Oh, this actually happened before this and that." Like I can see that being a cool thing, but like I'm really digging the kind of like it's all kind of connected, but like you don't have to like watch one thing in order to watch another.
Right.
And
Understand.
that's why I love that I didn't finish Killer of Killers because I didn't come into Badlands with that, like, oh, I hope this connects sort of like Marvel
I really
mentality.
hope it did. I was
No,
hoping,
it's
man.
but see, that's the thing, and that's why if the creators keep it that way, it makes our speculation shows like this more funner
Right.
because it's like then we can fill in those gaps for ourselves.
Oh,
Until you tell
100%.
us what is canon, we can just have fun speculating. And that's what we've kind of lost with Marvel and Star Wars in the past decade is that like as all these gaps are being filled in the Star Wars timeline, it's like, "Oh, well, we know what happened to Obi-Wan now. Nope, he wasn't on that planet this time because he was over we know now he was over here." And all these things and it's like, well, that's kind of stupid and boring, like, you
Don't you think like though like that's like kind of what the key is to making an expanded universe is like you start because I was thinking about this the other day and that's exactly what like if you look Star Wars is the perfect example. You look at it and it's just like you start, you throw it way in the middle and
yeah,
you
yeah,
you know you give that story, but then you don't tell any of the else and you leave and you have all these questions and stuff like that. And like
yes,
I think that works, and I think that is a big success to a successful movie, which is why exactly what we're kind of talking about. Why I think this is definitely a
yeah,
success is because they're not giving you those answers. Um, at the same time, I'm 100% agreeing with you. Like maybe they shouldn't, fill in those gaps. But at the same time, like I kind of feel like that's what they ultimately are always going to do. You know what I mean? Like they didn't
yeah,
have to do, like, remember back in the 90s, dude, like after Return of the Jedi, before we even heard they were going to do the prequels, it's just like, dude, all you had was the three movies. I mean, and then maybe you
in
could
the
read the
books,
books.
but
Yeah, you
like
could read the books and like,
as a kid, like okay, quick side tangent real quick. Everybody talks about nowadays like you have this source content to pull from and everybody like loves this like expanded universe. I grew up under the impression that it was all crap. It was all just like a bastardization of the original trilogy, and that like all those books, like, yeah, like if you want to get into them, there's some weird like sci-fi stuff, but like they're not really like canon and they're not cool or whatever. And so like now we're in an era where like we're ignoring the novels and I'll get back to Predator, but like ignoring the old novels, but like cherry picking different like plot lines, like Thrawn
right,
with
right.
the Ahsoka show and all that. Like it's just very interesting to do it that way.
Well, I mean,
And
like that's what I heard they kind of are doing what they did with Predator Badlands because you have all these source, like I read a couple of Alien vs Predator books like back in the day. Like those were awesome. And I had a couple of the comics and those were awesome too. And like these are the source materials, but like what I kind of heard is that they did do exactly what you said, like with Predator Badlands, is that with the Predator culture, because they do expand on the Predator culture in these books and stuff like that, that they did cherry pick and take, bits and pieces of what, they kind of wanted, for these movies. And
Yeah,
it's exactly what you said. It's, what are we going to show and kind of make canon, even though we have all the source material, um but at the same time, this with that and the way this movie was as just a straight up just nonstop like action, monster flick, it worked, you know what I mean? Like it gave me what I wanted, like and I was satisfied. I mean, I mean, are you agreeing with that?
I totally agree. Yeah, like I went into this movie with very low expectations. Like I watched I saw the first trailer and I was like before the
I didn't like
internet
the way he
told me
moved. I didn't like the
what.
way I don't like the way he moved. Like he didn't
Well, I
move like
didn't
a
like his
predator.
face, like the lack of ears and like the like the small stature of him. Like it just like
Too
before the
human.
internet told me to think that way. I honestly did think that way. That was my first impression. It was just like, ooh, he's kind of like looks like a dumb
A
version of a
human.
predator. I don't
Right.
know. But like yeah, that totally works or it ended up working. Like I
I
was
know,
pleasantly surprised.
and like Billy, and like I felt the same way, and then like I was like, dude, like the Predator doesn't move like that, he doesn't run like that. But then like I saw him like moving through the trees and stuff like that. I was like, dude, yes, like we finally like they finally showed. I mean, because honestly, I can't remember out of watching. I really didn't watch the last Predator movie. I thought that was like kind of a bad one. And I watched some of it, but it just kind of turned me up. But like either way, though, I know it didn't show this stuff, but like none of the Predator movies showed how they move through the trees like so quickly and shit. Like just how like in the first one where he's like, dude, how the fuck did he get, And and exactly what you said. Like when I saw the trailer, I was just like, man, that it looks like a human, like. But
Yeah.
then I saw him moving, through the trees, and I was just like, dude, okay, this is better. I like this. And then I like the aspect of that, it's as a runt, he's portrayed as like a smaller person. So then when I thought about it, I'm like, okay, a human runs like this because we're this size. If, a predator was this size, it's safe to say that they would probably run, kind of look like we do. So I gave that kind of a pass, but like I definitely loved how it portrayed some of these things that we never got to see, especially like moving through the trees and stuff like that. But I digress. So let's kind of talk a little bit and finish this one up, and then talk about Frankenstein. I want to talk about just a little bit on the character Thea, and then just how this movie wrapped up. Um, so I was talking earlier, she's an exposition character and all this stuff, and I didn't. I didn't really understand from her introduction how she like took out that pterodactyl. I mean, it kind of, they let us on a little bit later, that because she's a synthetic, she can just propel her arms, and that made sense, just throw herself like that. And that made up for it. But a lot of the criticism, kind of from the get go, was just like, why is she talking all the time? Blah 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 blah. Well, I also thought that, and I definitely understood though once she betrayed him, when she was like, okay, I have been the entire time just trying to um achieve my goal of getting back to the callus nest so I can, signal Tessa and get my legs back and stuff like that. And I felt like, her using, because if you think about it, okay, if you think about a person who's trying to grift, they are using their words. They're constantly like talking. You know what I mean? Like if you ever are in a situation where somebody's constantly like just, talking and trying to, explain this or explain that, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
usually that person is trying to get one over on you. And
Yeah.
I'm not
No, it's
making an
yeah.
example of us right now doing a podcast or anything like that. I'm just saying, like in a situation like that, or if you're in a group, the loudest person is usually the person who's trying to get one over, or the weakest person or something like that.
We
But
all know who you're talking about, Nick.
right,
From
right, right.
college.
So like, I'm just saying, like, what I thought I hated about her character that she was always talking and that was weird and stuff like that. I understood at like towards when she got to the Callus and betrayed him because she was just like I was the entire time just trying to play you. That made sense on kind of a human level because that's what I can see what a human would do. Like if you were like certain, they're trying to grift you. They're trying
Yeah.
to, use their words and stuff like that.
That's why you would
So
be programmed with emotions is in order to manipulate.
right, 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 right. So I kind of I liked that how that I hated that and then it definitely made me kind of understand. But one of the other things is just, they like you were saying, dude, they need to do like a Weyland Yutani series or movie or something like that to kind of give the us the understanding of how they even achieved, you know, human emotion like that. You know what I mean? Like I
Like a
don't
Westworld type series.
well, I mean, like, I don't know if they're using Alien Earth like that, where they're like trying to, because like the whole thing
They
with Alien,
are. That is what they are
I mean, like, cause,
doing.
right. I mean, like, you don't know if those are actually the little kids or if they just copied their, personality slash consciousness so that they have, a personality. Because that's my whole question. Like, how do they achieve personality? Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? So I do wish they would do something like that, like a Whalen Yutani like series or movie or something like that, and give us some backstory. But, um. I thought the main character Tessa was a little weak as far as like a villain, you know what I mean?
Who is
Um
Tessa? I
Tessa is Thea's
Oh, yeah,
co
okay, yeah.
yeah.
No, I thought she was
So
cool though. That dead eye that she
right.
had was
I mean, like she looked
that was
good.
cool.
I just thought there wasn't I mean, I get it. You don't really need a backstory with that because she's a robot. I mean, the point is her backstory is that
She's the evil one.
well, no, yeah, well, the company gave her the order. She's gonna follow it out. The company's the evil one who
Yeah.
gives the order, like, but you know what I mean? Like, so you don't really need that, but like, I just thought it was a little bit weak. You know what I mean? What I did like though is that they did give the callback to Aliens with the loader, and they made that
Yeah.
giganticize. I love that. I thought that was dope.
I love that too, and it gets at one of the themes that I love across science fiction, which obviously is across Star Wars, which is, the natural world versus technology, the fight between what's organic versus what's soulless or whatever.
Were
So
you getting a lot of Avatar vibes from this?
I was getting some Avatar. I was also getting some Mandalorian vibes. I've heard people on the interwebs say that too. I definitely saw that, not necessarily with the lone wolf and cub, but just with the Mandalorian like creed of like having to prove yourself and shit.
Right, right.
Um, yeah,
I
there
mean,
was definitely like samurai shit in there. Like I freaking loved it all.
and I liked, I mean, it was a little bit obvious, but I liked that it was still done, that they introduced all these things about the planet, like the plant that shoots the barbs, the vines, the spitting eel that spits acid, and whatever the exploding caterpillars.
Yeah,
I thought I saw that coming as that he was going to use, or in the blade grass. I saw that all coming, but like
good writing.
yeah, I'm glad it did. I'm glad they did do that though. Like I did
Yeah.
like how they,
You
he
need a
did do
seed to
that.
be planted in order to be like, okay,
Right.
I can see where this is going. He's gonna lose all of his shit, and then he's gonna get all, and it's not like they did a great job. Like some movies will like broadcast that for you, like lay it out for you, but this did a good job of like just planting little bits of seeds in here and there, and then like, yeah, you see it unfold. Like it's great.
So one
Um,
last thing before we get to the very end to the end of Prayer Badlands.
the wizard
What?
scale.
Well, no, I was gonna say the one last thing before we talk about the end of the Predator Badlands, how that ended. What did you think about the Callusk's ability that it could just, chop its head off, slice it open, and then it just regenerates? I mean, to me, dude, like it's kind of like that. Uh, d different multiverse stuff, like
Yeah,
time travel. Like I thought it
the
was kind of,
cop out.
yeah, I thought it was kind of played out a little bit,
Yeah,
like that, type of thing. But like at the same time, like it was fine because they didn't touch on it. They didn't. It wasn't
it didn't
yes, it
linger.
was a
Yeah,
huge thing, but like it wasn't a huge thing because then she just blew it up and then it was dead. Like I like that. So it was the only time you really saw it regenerate. It was when Deck like was fighting it. That was the only kind of really time you
right.
saw it regenerate. But okay, so last thing, before we get to Frankenstein here, is the end when he fought his father. Um, I thought.
His father was a bitch for not taking off his mask.
That's what I heard, man. That's what I heard. It's like a respect thing or an
Yeah,
honor thing.
like you said earlier in the this podcast, like like it always ends with them taking off their mask and like
Right.
coming down, and that is because like okay, you have now Arnold Schwarzenegger proven yourself as the highest like worthy opponent of the human species, and I'm gonna take off my mask and give you that honor. And I just recently rewatched Predator on Sunday, and he like throws down his one weapon, but then picks up an like slightly less uh, uh,
Something that Arnold
technologically
Schwarzenegger,
advanced.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So like he brings himself down onto the level. And for the father not to do that, I hated the father in the beginning, those first 5 minutes, or those 5 minutes that we get to see the brother and the father talk. I was like, ooh, I want this guy to die a mean death. And then for him to come back and not do that, not take off his mask and show his son the
Yeah.
honor that he deserves was just bullshit. Um,
Well,
I
really
don't feel
quick.
like he was. I wanted to see him. I forget how he died. Was that satisfying? How did
Yeah,
he
I mean,
die?
like he gets Deck beheads him. He rejects the offer to be part of the clan, and he just beheads him, and because he says he's like, oh, I've created my own tribe or my own clan, or I can't remember. I think it was tribe, but um, I saw a little bit on this, and I remember because I read this, and I remember reading this book too. Um, if you are a Yautja that kills another Yautja, you become like an outlaw, which you are called like a bad blood,
Yeah, yeah.
which he did to his dad. And I mean, he created his own tribe, which they Yautjas can do. But if you kill like another Yautja like that, you become a complete. You're a criminal, an outlaw. You're a bad blood, and everyone's gonna come at you.
I did hear this, and sorry, not to cut
No,
you
no,
off.
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
I feel like that's what the sequel to this movie was going to be called. Like the next movie in this, if they do like a direct sequel, it would be called Predator Bad Blood.
I love it. I mean, that
Like,
title is great though.
sorry, there's a side tangent, but like Spider-Man did with the home, like I thought it was stupid they included home in the subtitle of each movie, Homecoming,
Right, right,
Far
right,
From Home, and No Way Home. But
right.
like I could totally see that with this franchise of Predator Badlands, Predator Bad Blood, and then Predator Bad Motherfucker or
Right,
whatever, you
right,
know?
right.
Like I'm here for it. So
No, and I like that, dude. I'm in total agreement with you. And from what I understand is that like, female Yautjas are like the ones who control the society. They're like the heads,
yeah.
but like the males.
I know nothing about the female part of this species, but like I'm really looking forward to like because like the mother is like I said to you walking out of the theater, like there's always the queen bee, which is always the biggest bitch of them all. There's the the yeah, just the oh,
Well,
it's such a cool literary
well,
device and character of like the brothel owner of like a geisha
This
empire or
Billy,
something,
this ties back. I mean, like, okay, so like one qualm I have is that I mean, if I miss this, I miss this, but I did not see any real alien, xenomorph tie-ins, like references in this movie.
other
The
than
only
Weyland.
alien reference I saw, really, besides Weyland Yutani, was Mother. That the synthetics were reporting to, which is
Right.
the same mother that is from the original Alien in every single one of them. It's the computer or AI, whatever that they talk to that reports to Weyland Yutani. And if you think about it, so they're reporting to mother on the Weyland Yutani. The Yautjas are his mother because the females apparently are the ones who run Yautja society. That's
Mm.
that's what I heard. That's what they are. And the males are the ones who are the ones who do and go out and grab honor by doing hunts and stuff like that. But
Well, real quick, don't lose your train of thought. I heard this recently. Like the women are such badasses and run society that the men have literally nothing else to do in society
right,
than just prove their worth by going out and killing things on hunts.
yeah.
Like that's like so all we've ever seen of the predator species is just the bullshit side.
Right. And that is exactly what I was saying. And but like and the point I was kind of like tying was that, we had the mother from the
Mother,
AI and then the mother,
the
you know what I mean? But okay.
the
All right.
m
Well,
slash
Predator
slash
so Predator Badlands, all right, what's our ranking scale
Hold
here?
on, hold on. Oh, okay, are we wrapping up?
No, let's do Frankenstein too. Like, but like
No,
let's do
okay. So, Nick, we're about to wrap up our time limit on the second call. So we're gonna have to do a chapter 3 for
all right.
Frankenstein.
All
No
right.
worries on that. So we got 7 minutes to talk about our ranking, and I have prepared a special little chart here, which I think you can see now.
Ooh.
So, on a scale of not so wizard, kind of wizard, mostly wizard, wizard, or totally wizard, where would you place Nick
Ah.
Predator Badlands?
Bro, I'm gonna have to go totally wizard, and I have to explain why. All right, it's not the best Predator movie, but this is a movie different on its own that's different from Predator movies. Like this is not your traditional Predator movie. This is okay. So let's put this in the aspect of an action sci-fi action movie. This is a superb sci-fi action movie. And I will put this at totally wizard for a sci-fi action movie. As far as like a Predator movie, you know what? No, screw that. I'm sticking with Totally Wizard because this is starting off, this is taking the Predator series and it's putting this on a path to greatness. And I'm for it. And I
Yeah.
like the way we have a character, a main character who is he's the underdog dog, and everybody loves the underdog. And so I'm gonna go Totally Wizard, man.
All right. Let me pull back up the slide. I'm gonna go wizard, not to bring you down at all. Like I
No,
think
you're
it's
good.
definitely like I if there was a in between totally wizard and wizard, like a 4.5 stars, I would go with that. But as far as this movie, where am I? Oh crap, there we go. Oh, did you turn your screen off?
I
Or
did
was that
not.
me? I think I messed you up.
That's okay.
Um,
Let's see. Start video. You cannot start video because it's host because it is disabled by all right, you disabled my video, Bubba. Wait, hold on,
I
hold
don't know
on.
how I did that. Shoot, I messed it up. I'll
That's all
bring
right.
you back in a
You
second.
can hear me. Yeah, you can hear me. It's all good. Go ahead. Talk. What mostly? It's Wizard. Tell me.
Yeah, I'd just say wizard because here, there. I asked you to start your video.
Thank you.
Um, Yeah, it's Wizard. The only deductions from Totally Wizard is I got a little bored in the middle. Like honestly, I don't know what it was. I need to watch it a second time. The beginning was awesome. I was so into it. And then Act Two, it's like, okay, I get where this is going. And I'm like, okay, like I get where this is going. I get where this is going. And then it's kind of like, okay, now there's a little bit of a twist there. I'm back in the game. Act Three was awesome. So that's why I deduct one kind of partial point. Um, yeah, we're
I
gonna
dig it.
pause here. That's the end of chapter 2 of this podcast, and we will be back momentarily.